Okay, good morning everybody and welcome to Norwich City Council Licensing Subcommittee, Tuesday 21st of September 2021. We have one main item on the agenda today, and that is an application for grant of premises licence at 16 Prince of Wales Road, Norwich. So we'll start with apologies, and none today, and declarations of interest. Again, none. So item number 3 is the application for grant of a premises licence, Vanity, Prince of Wales Road, Norwich. We'll have reports in a minute. I'll introduce myself. My name is Ian Stupey. I'm your chair today. We have Councillor Caroline Ackroyd and Councillor Adam Giles on the panel today. Rachel Bennett is our Public Protection Officer. We also have David Lawrence, who's giving us legal advice from English law, and Leonie, who you've met. Okay, we'll have other members today introduce themselves as we go. So first of all, Rachel, everybody, I believe, has a copy of the papers. Can you just confirm, as the applicants, that you have your copy of the papers and you've read them? Okay. Are there any amendments or additional items in the report? Okay, thank you for that. And David, can you just summarise the additional papers that we've received, please?
Hopefully that's on. Yep, lovely. Thank you, Chair. You have hopefully received an email from the police 20 September 2021, which attaches a letter from the police of the same date.
Okay, thank you. Following the report.
Thank you. Following the report, we'll turn to the applicant, and if you please could just tell us a little bit about your proposal and how you wish to set about the licensing for this particular premises, please.
If the person could introduce themselves as well, please, Chair.
Yes, please. Which one of you is the applicant?
I am, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Can you just introduce yourself by name and
Yeah,
tell
my
us about
name
your
is
business?
Fatah. 8 Norwich. I'm the person who's applied for the premises license, 16 Prince of Wales Road.
Okay, thank you. Could you just use your microphone that's in front of you? Just press the green button in the middle, and the red light will come on. Thank you. Then we'll be able to hear you. Thank you. Okay, so please tell us about your business.
Yeah, it's going to be off license, so just alcohol and then English staff.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the business, especially in relation to the licensing objectives?
Actually, we speaking with the missus about the time. We have an issue with the time, and they said midnight. I said 1 o'clock. So we have 1 hour in between. We put in for like 5 in the morning. They said it's too much going on there as a alcohol, the drunk people and stuff. We want to control that. I really do appreciate that, but I think that 1 o'clock is not much different to 2, to 12 o'clock. At least, even they give us weekend this time, the rest of the day we can close 12, and Friday, Saturday 1.
Okay, thank you. So, in your application, as you say, you applied for 7 o'clock in the morning till following 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, sir.
And as of today, you're offering a new timing of 1 o'clock in the morning, so 7 until 1 o'clock in the morning. Is that correct? So that's you'd like to amend your application to 1 o'clock.
Please.
Councillor Giles.
Am I right in thinking you're asking for 1 o'clock on Friday and Saturday and 12 o'clock the rest of the week?
It's fine, yeah.
No, we're going to need something more positive than that. Rather than saying it's fine, are you amending your application?
Yeah.
And are you amending the application to close at 1 a.m. on a Saturday morning and a Sunday morning, and at midnight all of the days of the week.
Yes.
Okay, your colleague behind you has indicated he'd like to speak. Can you just use your microphone, please,
Yeah, because Saturday, 1 o'clock is gonna be Sunday one, Sunday morning. Like, if you put the other application, it's gonna be one day, forward.
yes.
Like Friday, 1 o'clock, it's gonna be like Saturday, 1 o'clock.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Sunday, 1 o'clock to close the time.
Yeah, okay, I think we've established that, David, if you make those notes. Thank you. Okay, I'll turn to members of the committee now, if you'd like to ask any questions.
I suppose my first question would be about, would you be employing any security guards to be outside your premises?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And would that be 1 or 2?
Whatever the law asking me to do, so 1 or 2 they ask me to do, I will put it 1 or 2.
Okay.
Sorry to jump in again.
Yeah.
It may be the applicant is unclear as to the process we have to follow today. We have to consider the proposed operating schedule. In other words, you tell committee how you will run the business. At the moment, looking at the letter from the police, there is no mention of SIA staff. So when you respond to the councillor, at the moment that is new data, are you amending your operating schedule to clearly state you will be employing SIA door staff? If so, please, what hours and on what days? It isn't a matter of the law demanding from you, it's a matter of you telling committee how you intend to run this business.
Yes, I do.
Okay, could I just, sorry to interrupt, could I just ask you back to just turn your microphone off when you're not speaking?
Okay.
There's one behind you that's on as well, so... Yeah, thank you for that, because we can only have 2 on at the same time apart from this one. Okay, so David has asked if you would like to amend your application to include a condition that will require you to have a SIA security personnel on the premises, and if so, what hours you would propose to have that person present?
Yes, I do. We'll have one. I don't know, to be honest, what hours I have to say, but from the beginning, I want to. When is the license is open, I will put it 1 on. So from 8 o'clock in the night time.
Okay. Okay. So.
But I will check what exactly I should do.
Okay, you need to tell us today what you propose to do, and that will become part of your operating schedule, and therefore you'll be required to follow the hours that you tell us that you'd like to work. You would like that person to work from. So, are you offering now the condition to have 1 security staff on site from 8 o'clock in the evening, 8 p.m.
Yes.
Till 1 o'clock in the morning until you
Yes.
close at the weekends, and 12 o'clock other days?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's noted.
Just wanting it down, Jesse.
Yeah, David.
Number 1, SIA staff be employed as door control from 8 p.m. on all days to close the business.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions at the moment for? Okay.
Is that wording agreed?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Giles? Okay. Referring to your application, your original application, on page 22, where you're asked in your application to describe the steps you intend to take to promote 4 licensing objectives. In your original application, you left 2 of those blank, and that is the general and prevention of crime and disorder. Public safety, you mentioned about tidying rubbish around the shop. And prevention of public nuisance, again you reference keeping it clean and making customers keep quiet. And then the protection of children from harm, you haven't addressed that at all. In a letter we received from Michelle Bartram, licensing officer at Norwich Police, yesterday, there is a set of conditions that Michelle has set out in there, to which I understand you have agreed. Can you confirm that for us, please?
Yes, please.
Okay. So those conditions are relating to the CCTV, the licence holder should ensure a member of staff who is conversant with operation of CCTV will be on the premises, staff to be trained, refusal logs to be kept, customers discouraged from drinking alcohol in the street, with a reference to the PSPO, and all of your stock must carry labelling marking the name of the premises. Challenge 25 policy and staff training on that, and no super strength cider, beer or cider above 6%. Okay, and in addition to that, the new condition requiring SIA staff from 8 to 1. Can you just confirm that you've agreed to all of those?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I'll ask Michelle to comment on that. We'll talk about part of your representation a bit later, so if you stick to all of the items apart from the last point on your original application, we'll talk about that later. Can you address the committee, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, sorry to just go back if we can. We mentioned the SIA security. Was that just on Friday and Saturdays, or was that? Can we just confirm what days that you were looking at, David? Sorry.
Certainly, the wording, a minimum of 1 SIA door staff to be employed as door control from 8 p.m. on all days to close of business.
Okay, thank you. Yes, if I could just, obviously these changes have helped the application, and so apologies if some of my information is slightly different. We obviously raised concerns with this application due to the hours requested, albeit that these have now been looked to have changed and amended. The premises is situated in the heart of the nighttime economy zone, used by those who intend to either go out and consume alcohol within the bars and clubs on Prince of Wales Road until the early hours of the morning. One of the issues faced by police and the operators when managing the nighttime economy and the users is the issue of preloading, and this is when the revellers rapidly consume alcohol before entering the venues to either save money or get intoxicated quicker. When the revellers preload prior to attending the venues, this makes it difficult for staff to manage the levels of intoxication inside, and also increases the crime and disorder at the venues and on dispersal. And those that are highly intoxicated are more likely to become involved in an incident or become vulnerable. Having these off licences on this road gives the revellers an easy opportunity to purchase drinks and consume them immediately outside before going into the venues. In addition to the levels of intoxication, it makes it harder for the operators to manage the patrons, and it also contravenes the city PSPO. We do have concerns about another off-licence being down Prince of Wales Road when we've already experienced issues with those that are already operating in the area already. One of the current off-licences opens till 3 a.m. and is causing a drain. This shop actually attracts people drinking in the street and has people standing there and there's bottles and smashed glass in the area, and public order officers have to target attention to the shop and remind patrons not to drink in the street. So we feel that there are concerns with having another off licence, which is within walking distance of the others. As I mentioned, he initially asked for 5 AM and this has now been changed. So I'll sort of miss out on that part of it. Again, I'll just quickly move on. As you touched on, the operating schedule within the application was insufficient in promoting the licensing objectives and didn't really reflect the potential impact the shop would have. I'm pleased that the applicant has now agreed the conditions that I have proposed. And again, these do address most of the sort of concerns about CCTV, staff training and the no super strength beer. The issue really is mainly the hours, and although we've suggested a midnight, and the reason for the midnight is because we feel that is when the footfall starts to become busier on the street, and we feel that the shop would be closed and it wouldn't then add to the issues. And also, the midnight was suggested so that he didn't have to look to employing door staff, which would then obviously be an additional cost to him. If he is looking to have door staff, that is something that would obviously help, but that only really helps inside the shop. That would help with checking for age and supporting staff if someone was intoxicated. The issue we have is when people then come outside and immediately drink outside with their bottles. Now, the member of door staff wouldn't have any insurance or ability as part of their role to manage the outside of that area. They can't then go outside on the street and take alcohol off people, and that would be the police that would be expected to do that. I did provide a guide, which hopefully you've seen, which just gives an overview of the other premises on Prince Wales Road. I do appreciate that some of them have got a labour licence and some of them are 24 hours, although most of them, half, don't actually use their licences because they know the problems that they experience when they open. Hopefully you've seen those hours. As I mentioned, the existing off-licences on Prince Wales Road do cause us problems, and despite the police intervention with the premises management and reminding them to inform patrons of the PSPO restriction and the employment of door staff, which these already have, many of the customers choose to ignore this and they open their purchases immediately outside, leaving in the hope that they won't be challenged by police. So the employment of door staff can be considered as a measure, but their role would just assist more in challenging and preventing shoplifters and supporting staff rather than dealing with the issue out on the street. Hopefully you've seen the 2 reports which were from the public order officers. These happen on a regular occurrence, albeit that they are from a different venue. I think they give you an overview of the problems that we experience on Prince Wales Road. One on the 6th of August, during the nighttime economy, large numbers of people have entered the shop to purchase alcohol. They've then congregated in the area around the off-licence to drink this alcohol. And this gathering of people outside the store required a police presence to manage outside. Glass bottles were smashed or discarded around the store. The area was being treated by members of the public similarly to the outdoor areas of the pubs and clubs. However, the store only employs a single security guard whose responsibility is more to deter theft rather than manage public order. And again, Inspector Bacon reported on the 21st of August about premises attracting groups to sit outside and congregate with drinks. This required regular police attention and removal of alcohol from people. Another concern, if I can just add this while we're here, is the absent DPS. I know we have got a proposed DPS on the paperwork. This DPS has already got one other premise on Magdalen Street and another one in Diss, and it will be unlikely that he'll be on site on Prince Wales Road. When I've discussed it with the applicants, they did say that this was meant to be a temporary measure until the premises licence holder has got his own personal licence to nominate himself. My concern is that there won't be anyone actually running the shop who is appropriately trained and experienced enough in running it in what will be a challenging shop. In my original representation, I did also give mention to the DPS being looked at by training standards. If you can kindly omit that comment, because they're not here today, so I don't want to take that any further. So in summary, really, although I'm pleased that he's accepted the conditions on the licence, and again, he's addressed the concerns about the hours, we would prefer a midnight, and if the committee look to accept a 1 a.m. Obviously, we're going to have some door staff now, which is reassuring. However, we still feel there'll be issues out on the street with people congregating. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. When we're talking about the issues with the DPS not being on site, just to confirm, Mr. Fattar, is that
Yes.
are you proposing to be the DPS
Yeah.
for this premises?
Yes.
Okay, and is that a temporary measure?
No, it's not.
Page 20 has a different name.
Okay. Okay, so Daniel, can you just say your say your name for the benefit of the committee?
Daniel Bayatwalam.
Thank you. Okay, so you're proposing to be the DPS. So you're you have a personal license.
Yeah, license.
Okay, and Mr. Fattar, you're proposing to be the DPS in the long term. Is that correct?
It's a couple of months, 2 months time, I will get it.
Yep. Okay. So in the short term, will you be on site at this premises?
Yeah, definitely, especially the rushing hour. I'm gonna be there, till he get his license and he's gonna be trained. I'm gonna be at the premises,
Okay, so do you propose to be at the premises daily?
Yeah, I try, because I got another shop, but I try, to train and, I'll be there most of the time as much as I can. Especially on, evening time in the rushing hour, but like the time, it is more, risk and more drunks. I try, to be there as well.
Okay, so how do you propose to control the area outside your premises, and what measures do you tend to put in place to prevent people from purchasing alcohol from your venue and then opening them and drinking them on the street immediately?
What I do?
Yes, how will you try to prevent that?
I try, to see, if they are drunk, we don't sit and, keep eye on them, they're not, fighting, making troubles.
Okay. Have we got anything about signage in your list?
Mr. Chair, we have one of the proposed conditions, which has been agreed by the applicant, does mention that they'll be discouraged under notice informing customers of the PSPO. We do know from other premises that even when they verbally remind patrons at the point of sale that doesn't always take place.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so just to confirm, the customers will be discouraged from drinking alcohol in the street, and notice informing of the PSPO will be on display. Okay, thank you. Any further questions to the applicant? Okay, we have a representation here from Councillor Leslie Graham, who is objecting to the licence. Leslie, please.
Thank you, Chair. I represent residents in the area, including the back streets where there isn't so much police presence, and also the people who live in a hostel for people who are homeless. And for some of those people, alcohol has been a contributing factor to their difficulties. The application now is much better than the one that I was reading yesterday, so I thank the applicant for your flexibility. However, however well run the premises is, I don't feel that it's possible to control the behaviour of customers once they've left the shop. I don't really see a plan to prevent crime and disorder and protect children and vulnerable people from the shop, and I know that the police have a presence there some of the time, but the problem is there all of the time that the shop is open, including school leaving time, including daytime. So I hope that you'll reject this application. And I'm sorry to say that because I would like to give you the benefit of the doubt, but it's not. But it's about the quantity of alcohol in the street and the residents who have to deal with the people drinking it, not very far from the street, day in, day out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Graham. Can you describe what issues the local residents have?
Chair, sorry, I frequently have to do this, just to flag the need to consider the representation, and only the representation from Councillor Graham. There's nothing there regarding the matters she mentioned at the start. It looks like a personal application. There is no reference to representing anybody in it. And I don't believe there's any notification to the licensing team of a person wishing to be represented by Councillor Graham.
Okay, Rachel, can you confirm that for us, please?
That's right, the representation was received from Councillor Graham, I believe, and not on behalf of the resident.
Okay, thank you. So just to confirm, Councillor Graham, the objection that you put in, as David says, thank you for pointing that out, David, appears to be a personal representation on behalf of yourself as a councillor, and rather than referencing people in the area. So therefore, I'm not able to ask you about their experiences. Should you wish to make representations about licensing applications and represent members of the public, you'll need to reference those in your original representation to the council, and then we can ask you questions about those. And also anything you wish to talk about needs to be in that original objection. Okay, so thank you for your contribution. We'll have any more questions from councillors? Okay, David.
Chair, I didn't know whether Councillor Graham wanted to ask either the police or the applicant any questions.
Do you wish to ask any questions?
Thank you, and I'm sorry I didn't mention the residents who asked me to represent them. So the question that I'd like to ask you is, how do you plan to prevent crime and disorder and protect children and vulnerable people from the impact of street drinking and drunk people on the street?
Okay, thank you. Could you answer that question, please? Yes, Ida, please.
Yeah, actually, we're not going to serve all drunk people. The drunk is limited anyway. We're not going to do it. Serving the drunk people, and then we're reporting to the police. If we have a security guard in the first place, 8 o'clock. If happening before that, we have a police to report it, And then if we're not serving the children for the cigarette, alcohol, anything is under control. We have a police. We call the police. We report to the police.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Graham, do you have any further questions?
No further questions, thank you.
Much. Okay, so we've heard about the potential for alcohol to be purchased from the premises, the proposed premises, and opened and consumed on the street, and that appears to be a major concern of both Councillor Graham as the objector and also Michelle. We've also in the pack that we've got there's reference made to the cumulative impact policy of the council, and David has advised that we should we should give less weight to that, especially as currently we don't have that policy in place. So David, how much weight can we give to the fact that other premises are creating issues when, of course, the committee must consider this on its own merits?
As you say, Mr. Chair, its own merits consideration, I recommend no weight be given to the residue of cumulative impact.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions from councillors? I think what we'll do now is we'll ask members of the public to leave us because we have other matters to discuss that are below the line, and those are the green papers that some members in the committee today have. So, members of the public, that's Leslie, please, and George from the press, if you wouldn't mind leaving us. I think we'll need about 15 minutes for this part, and then we'll ask you to come back around about 11:15, please. Thank you. Okay, welcome back to Norwich City Council Licensing Subcommittee. Tuesday, 21st of September. We're considering the grant of a premises licence, 16 Prince of Wales Road, and after a short break, during the break we had a question about why we went below the line for the part of the agenda, and I can confirm that the council's website states the reasons for going below the line, so that is in the public domain. Okay, so moving on, we have David would like to address the committee regarding conditions.
Thank you, Chair. It's just to make sure they're worded so they're enforceable, and generally no problems. However, the fifth bullet point says customers will be discouraged from drinking alcohol in the street, and it is very difficult to work out how that can be enforced, it being vague, and therefore I'd be very grateful if the applicants could assist regarding precisely how that will be enforced so far as it's within his power to do so.
Okay, thank you, David. So just to confirm, it states here, I read it out earlier, customers will be discouraged from drinking alcohol in the street, and a notice informing of the PSPO restricted alcohol within the city centre will be on display. So can you describe what type of signage and wording for that signage that you'll put up, please, and the nature of those signs, how large they'll be, where they'll be placed within your shop, and also any other measures that you'll take to discourage people from drinking on the street, such as, for example, the SIA security talking to people as they leave the shop. So can you describe how you'll be proposing to reach that objective?
We try to find the security which is got, experience, been working as a kind of same business. I know a couple, they've been working the same, off license and on weekend, by, clubs. And we try to put in a sticker, kind of if you're drawing, keep the limit and, some of the things we try to ask the other businesses, what experience they got, and when they are drunk, we try to not sell them, and,
Okay, just to be specific on this point about signage, what signage are you proposing to put up as part of this condition? This is the condition that you've agreed to. You confirmed earlier that you agreed to the condition, and the committee would like just a bit more detail about what signage you're going to place in your shop.
Yeah, we're not selling to the drunk people. Do not throw the rubbish, on the street.
Okay, this is the condition relating specifically to drinking in the street.
Yeah.
And signage relating to drinking in the street. So can you describe what signage you'll be using, please? The wording on the sign. Do we need to have that, David, please?
It is, the PSPO will of course have its own data, so no, you wouldn't need to say what the notice regarding the PSPO would cover. We're back to having no enforceable detail about what else is intended, Chair.
Yes. So in terms of the signage, can you describe where you will place that signage in your shop?
Yeah, top of the till, where the alcohol...
Chair, I don't know if you want to hear from the applicant rather than from the DPS.
And on the window, the entrance door.
Okay, thank you. As David has requested, can we hear from the applicant? Thank you.
Yeah, as he mentioned, we put in on the, where is the alcohol, the display, so we can put in there something really big, to people see,
Okay. In terms of wording, David, would that be something that would be for the applicant to decide, or would they be able to work with the licensing team to create that wording?
At the moment, the condition is so loose and woolly that it would be completely for the applicant to decide, Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Right. Okay. Can you describe any other measures you'll take within the shop to discourage people from drinking alcohol in the street? We've heard, of course, that they'll have the alcohol that you stock will have to have permanent marking describing where it originates from. So clearly you won't want any of that to be found in the street, local to the shop. So therefore, can you describe how you will prevent people from drinking that alcohol in the street? Can we hear from the applicant, please?
Yeah, as we mentioned this, what can I say? If there is front of me, I can tell, but some people may be going far away from you drinking on the street. It's not on my control. We put in the sign, we can even put in the photo to explain how to drink, where you drink. Now on the street, we have the doorman, as we can tell. Can you just stop these people, for example, taking from us to not drink there, explain to them, myself, the doorman, if not, please. So far from me, what can I do,
Okay. Yes, it's, the committee notes that premises holders are not responsible for members of the public after they've left the premises and outside of the premises.
Yeah.
The condition that we're discussing here is perhaps the main condition that is the concern of the police, and that is drinking on the streets. So therefore, anything that you can do to help prevent that from happening will be in your favour in terms of when we come to our determination. So if you're able to offer a list of measures that you'll take now when people enter your shop, including signage and any verbal messages that your staff can give to members of the public. You said that the security can remind people. Are you saying that your security will remind people as they leave that they mustn't drink on the street?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Can you note that for us? Can you give it some wording, please, David? Thank you. Any questions from councillors? Anybody else here wish to ask any further questions of the applicant? Councillor Graham or Michelle? Michelle, please.
Yeah, this is a question for both the applicant and the DPS. I wanted to know sort of how much experience have they got of Prince Wales Road sort of after midnight?
Okay, thank you.
Myself, I know really how busy it is, and then I see the place, how they are, doing, really appreciate it, So I make myself ready. I'm not ready yet to open right now, so I make myself ready for the time being, to take the control of the business.
Okay. Michelle, does that answer your question? Okay, and the DPS, please.
As we've been working, 2 years in taxi, especially night time, we've been working till like 5, 6 in the morning, and especially, like most of the time pick up from Prince Wales Road, the drunk people and normal people, We got experience, more than others, especially with drunk people.
Okay, thank you. Any follow-ups to that? Yeah, please.
Sorry, thanks for the reminder. You know, I've been doing the taxi with Daniel almost 3-4 years in IBC. Since we started left, we never had, even myself, never had argue with the drunk people. We know how to deal with them, you know. So I think there is help in us in the business as well. So we had the experience how to deal with the drunk people
Okay.
to make them understand.
Thank you for that. Any follow-up questions or anything else, Councillor? Right. Okay, just turn to members. David, can you help us to sum up the conditions that have been offered, and especially those that have been offered during the committee, please?
Chair, the additional conditions presented by the applicant and not imposed by this committee are a minimum of 1 SIA staff to be employed as door control from 8 p.m. on all days to close of business. And I take it as it's been offered, the applicant has already considered the cost of that and decided that the cost is something he can cope with, or it should not be presented to this committee as an offer.
Okay, so can you just confirm that that condition, you are content to offer that condition?
Sorry, if you don't mind to repeat, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
A minimum of 1 SIA registered member of staff to be employed as door control from 8 p.m. on all days to close of business.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, David.
Second, amendment of hours. Sunday to Thursday, close at midnight. Friday night, meaning Saturday morning, closing at 1 a.m. Saturday night, meaning Sunday morning, to close at 1 a.m.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's
Matters just discussed. Member of SAA staff, when present or otherwise staff, will inform all customers leaving the premises with alcohol that they should not drink on the street.
Yeah.
okay, thank you. And in addition, wording for that particular condition will reference signage, specifically in the placing of signage in the shop behind the till, behind the counter.
Chair, there is another condition that needs careful thought, I think, which is that all alcoholic stock, whilst on display when sold, will be permanently marked with the premises name or initial. Due to the habit of selling multi-items with a plastic wrapper, I wondered how the applicant intended to comply with that obligation.
Okay, so how will you be marking your items, especially the multi-packs?
Can I ask you a question?
We can order a sticker to put in all items, and the carry bag we can order, like with the name of the shop and the logo.
There may be a misunderstanding. You've agreed, and I say the applicant, not the DPS, has agreed, that all alcoholic stock at the premises will be marked, not the bag that the alcoholic stock is in, but all alcoholic stock. And as, for example, cans of lager are frequently sold in multi-packs and wrapped up, how will you ensure that all alcoholic stock is properly identified?
So just to recap, this condition requires that every item of alcohol, so every bottle, can or other vessel is marked with your shop name on it. So a sticker is an example of how you might achieve that. And David is asking where you have multi-packs that are in boxes, for example, so a pack of 10 cans in a cardboard box. How will you ensure that those are marked one way of doing that is to not sell multi-packs in boxes, for example, but it's up to you to offer that, how you will achieve that, please.
We can just put them a sticker, you know, with the name.
I don't, sorry, I think it's wrong. Be honest, I misunderstand. Still, I don't get the question. If there is a reason how you packing, how we selling, you know, I don't get the question.
No.
You know.
Okay. The condition that has been requested by the police is quite a common condition for newsagents, especially for off licences, especially in this area, where all items are required to have the name of the shop applied to them. So a sticker, for example, placed on the bottom or at some point of each can or bottle that you sell in the shop. That's one of the conditions that you agreed to. And David's question was to tell us how you will apply that sticker and ensure that that marking is on all the items that you sell.
As he mentioned, we can order stickers on our shop names, in my shop names. It's mentioned this is the name of the shop, where it is coming from. We can stick on the bottle, whatever comes, you know. So if there is the four together, you can put it on the, you know, on the top.
Okay. Will you be selling multi-packs in closed boxes, such as you see 10 packs or 24 packs that are...
Not 24 packs, maybe, yes. It depends on the people. Maybe party people come and take in one case, you never know.
Yeah.
But we're still sticking on that. But again, we're not going to sell the
Is it
people.
possible to put a sticker in the box? You know, has 24 inside the box. You put 24 sticker inside the box where they take it, stick it. Or we can open the box and put in one by one before the customer take it.
Okay, David.
Chair, once again, it is for the applicant to say how they will run their business. Therefore, if the offer is, in case of multi-pack, to open them and to individually label each container, then that will comply. I'll change the wording, it will comply with what you have proposed. But this committee needs to be confident that this has been thought about and you can actually do it and will do it, rather than something that you offer to try and get out of a short-term problem at this committee today, because that doesn't help you or us, because it will be a criminal offence if a licence is granted to fail to comply. So therefore, if your offer is that our multi-packs, they'll be opened, individually labelled, and then sold, that is fine, but committee will want and hope that you have considered the practicalities of that.
Yeah, I got the question, yeah, that's fine. We open and we put each one. We don't say maybe, we say yes, we do.
Okay, thank you. Committee's noted that, and David will...
I'm just adding, multi-packs will be opened and each item of alcoholic stock individually marked. That is what you're offering this committee?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Unless there are any other questions for the applicant or Michelle, I think we'll make our determination now. So the time is nearly 11:45. I propose that we'll need a minimum of 20 minutes. So if we return no earlier than 1:05, and then we'll ask you to come in if we're ready. Sorry, 12:05. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
So we only...
Okay, welcome back to Norwich City Council Licensing Subcommittee, Tuesday 21st of September 2021. We are at the stage of our determination for the grant of a premises licence, Vanities, 16 Prince of Wales Road, Norwich. Okay, and the decision of the committee is a unanimous decision to grant the licence for the premises with conditions as offered. And a further condition set by the committee to restrict closing time to 12 every day, and as a result the sale of alcohol to 12 midnight every day. The committee dismissed matters discussed below the line due to lack of evidence. So just to confirm, the decision is to grant the licence with the conditions offered in the by the applicant, and last thing to say is that you have a right of appeal, and details will be sent to you for that. David, is there anything to add?
Thank you, Chair. No, you've noted the conditions now offered, you've noted the reduced hours, and you've reduced those hours further by imposition. And you're of the view, I believe, that the application now promotes the licensing objective. And you've noted the Section 182 guidance. We've also noted the advice from the police as your primary source regarding the licensing objective of crime and disorder as to the current existing conditions and problems on Prince of Wales Road. And you've noted the right of appeal.
Thank you. Yes, the committee felt it was necessary to reduce the hours further in order to promote the licensing objectives, in particular crime and disorder. We heard evidence from Michelle to persuade us that way. So unless you have any questions, that concludes the meeting.